Hello everyone. Now we'll be looking into the task 4 of the Sparks Foundation Group Internship Program, which is Exploratory Data Analysis on Terrorism Dataset. As a security or defense analyst, we will be trying to find the hotspot of terrorism and also find various insight based on the information that is available to us in the dataset. Now moving on, first we'll be importing the libraries and then we'll be trying to importing the dataset. While looking at the dataset, we know that it has a specific encoding on which we have to import. So we have to find the type of encoding, and then based on the encoding, we are importing the dataset. After importing it, then we will be looking into the initial analysis of the dataset that we have. That is looking at the shape, the number of columns, uh, the duplicates, whether it has any duplicate entries, and the number of null columns or null values present in it. And then we will be trying to remove all those null entries, because we can't analyze based on null entries. And after removing all the null entries, then we will be having a concise data set where every entries is filled, and based on the columns that are present in this data, we'll be working on the exploratory data analysis. And first we'll be looking from the year perspective, that is how the terrorism has increased. And as looking at from here until 2011, here the number of terrorism attacks is less than 6,000, after which it has risen very significantly. So we'll be looking terrorism after 2011, or starting from 2012 to 2017 period in the second part of it. And moving on, then we'll be looking terrorism attacks based on month wise, and then looking and based on country wise and province wise, city wise, and then region wise. And after looking at all this, we'll be finding how many terrorism attacks were successful, and how many of these terrorism attacks were organized by which of the organization. Here, while looking into the dataset, we know that the topmost value that we are getting is unknown, which means that since a lot of them are not intrigued or not sure which organization that attack is organized by, the analysis that we get from this visualization is not very accurate. And then looking into the various attack types and the targets of those attacks, and then the weapon types used, we will come with an initial analysis. And in the initial analysis, we obviously know that the last 6 year period, the 2012 to 17 period, had more attacks than the previous 42-year period, that is 1970 to 2011. And then generally the terrorism attacks were spread over all the months, ranging from 13 to 16,000 attacks. And while Iraq is the highly target country, and more than 9 countries, only 9 countries have more than 5,000 attacks, and 4 countries have more than 10,000 attacks in this whole period. And 89% of terrorist attacks were successful, and the bombing or explosion is the highly used attack type. And the top 5 targets of these terrorist attacks were private citizens, property, military, police, government, and business. And explosive and firearms is the highly used weapon types. Now, looking specifically into the last 6 year period, we'll be again going through various parameters such as country, province, city, region, organization, and attack type, and target type, uh, and finally weapon type. Now looking at this 6 year period in comparing with the 48 period, we know that in the last 6 year period alone, Pakistan had the highest percent of attacks, while Iraq has more attacks in the overall period. Pakistan has seen more attacks in the last 6 year period. And similarly, in case of provinces, 6 provinces have seen more than 60% of its terrorism attacks from the last 6 year period. So if we remove those last 6 year period, we will be analyzing that those provinces are more peaceful and not hotspots. And now looking into the various cities, we know that 18 out of the 20 locations had more than 40% of attacks in the last 6 year period. So we have to know that the 2012 to 2017 is the mostly concentrated period where there were high number of attacks. And then while going region wise, Middle East and North Africa is the region with the highest terrorist attacks. And while looking into specifically organizations, Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant is the organization which has the highest number of terrorist attacks in the 6 year period. Whereas for the whole 48 year period, Taliban is the organization which has had the most terrorist attacks. And then looking at attack type, in the last 6 year periods, family or infrastructure attack is highly concentrated, and more than 50% of this specific type of attack came from the last six period. And the kidnapping rate has significantly reduced in this same time period. While going into the target type, military is the highly targeted in this 6 year period, followed by private citizens and properties, police and utilities. And all of these targets, that is military, private citizens, police, utilities, have been classified as target type by more than 40% of its attacks in the last 6 year period. While going for the weapon type, vehicles were highly used in the last 6 year period. Thank you.